Hey everyone, welcome back to Bible Inspired. This whole channel is to do Bible study, but through the exegetical way. We want the scriptures to speak to us and not to insert our own presuppositions or what we've been taught that could possibly be wrong. Today, I want to go over Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 and 18. And this gets a lot of confusion around the Bible study realm. With that, let's just jump right into it. So we'll just read it, but if you like this type of content, the Bible study, and going in depth into the original language, then please share, like, and follow for more. But Matthew chapter 5, verse 17, do not presume that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter or the stroke of a letter shall pass from the law until all is accomplished. So this is Jesus speaking, and he's telling people that he did not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. So when people hear this, they assume that the Mosaic law is still in play. However, I like to point out that there's two clauses in there. The first one is until heaven and earth pass away, and the second one is until all is accomplished. What does this even mean? And why is there two clauses in this sentence? If there's two clauses, that means there has to be something connected to both of these clauses. And I think that I can give a little bit of insight through to understand what exactly Jesus is meaning by this. So the first one is really simple to point out, right? Because Jesus says, "Not the smallest letter or the stroke of a letter shall pass from the law until all is accomplished." So the Mosaic law is 613 commandments. It's not all laws inside the Mosaic law. When we say the Mosaic law, this is a library term. This doesn't mean that all the 613 commandments in there are laws. There's only 12 Torah laws that are inside the law of Moses, the sin offering, grain offering, so forth. So there's only 12 of them. But I'll get to why it's a library term here in a second. But you can see that not the smallest letter or the stroke of a letter shall pass from the law until all is accomplished. Though you cannot add or take away from the Mosaic law, or you violate the Mosaic law. So God himself, Jesus, the Messiah, is saying not the smallest of the letter or the stroke of the letter shall pass from the law until all is accomplished. So if you can identify one thing that is no longer active today in the Mosaic law, then the clause until all is accomplished is accomplished. Now we can go back and forth of what it really means to accomplish. However, the easiest one to point out is the Passover lamb. Jesus is our sacrificial lamb. He is the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the earth. So since that is a law, that is a commandment that's found inside the law of Moses, and we no longer do this because Jesus is our Passover lamb, then it would be safe to say whatever Jesus was talking about, what needs to be accomplished is accomplished to fulfill this part of the law, because Jesus says not the smallest letter or the stroke of a letter will pass from the law until all is accomplished. In English vernacular, in modern day, it would say the crossing of the T's and the dotting of the I's. It would all be done and it would all be in place until all is accomplished. So this is the easiest one to understand. What gets people really confused, it says until heaven and earth pass away. And when they read this, they automatically take both clauses and put them together. The law and the prophets will not disappear or anything until everything is accomplished. This is not the same clause reworded in these two verses. They see two different clauses and they mean two different things. So you can see in verse 17, it says, I have not come to abolish the law and the prophets. So it's the law and the prophets, and this clause is until heaven and earth pass away. The second clause is only about the law. So we see this, we read this, and we just assume that it means that the law and the prophets will be here until heaven and earth pass away. And this is not what is being said. There's two clauses there. So the until heaven and earth pass away is connected to something else. It means the law and the prophets are connected to heaven and earth pass away, until heaven and earth pass away. You see, Jesus couldn't have said that that the smallest stroke of the letter or the smallest letter will pass away from the law and the prophets until all is accomplished, because Jesus didn't accomplish all the prophecies that are written in the Bible. For example, the second coming. Has he made his second coming yet? No. So that particular prophet cannot be attached to the second clause, because that has not happened yet. So the prophets and the law are a separate entity to the law that is being accomplished through the Mosaic law, which Jesus accomplished on the cross. And how we get around that is that the law and the prophets, there's one law, there's 12 laws, the Torah laws inside the Mosaic law, and then there's one Torah law outside the Mosaic law, written 700 to 800 years later by the prophet Ezekiel. Ezekiel 43:12. This is the law, the Torah of the house upon the top of the mountain. The whole limit thereof around about shall be the most holy. Behold, this is the law, the Torah of the house. So you can see that there's a law, a Torah law outside the law of Moses. So did the prophet add to the law of Moses? No. This is not the case. In Deuteronomy 4:2, it says, "You shall not add to the words that I have commanded you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God that I commanded you." So the prophet knew this. God didn't command this prophet to add to the Torah law. However, it is an added law, but not to the law of Moses. So you see that Matthew 5:17-18 starting to fall into place, right? Because now this law that's outside, that's in the prophets, is connected to the first clause. The law and the prophets will be fulfilled, and they will all be fulfilled, and then heaven and earth will pass away. And the law that was fulfilled, that had to be accomplished, all that had to be accomplished, is the Mosaic law, the 12 Torah laws that are inside the Mosaic law. I go in great detail on this in my upcoming book. I call it Torahism, another branch of replacement theology. It is just a book that breaks down that we new believer Christians under the new covenant are not obligated to follow the Mosaic law. So it's an apologetic book, and it goes into great detail. And inside this book, there's a chapter called "This is the Law," and I break down all 12 of the Torah laws that are inside the law of Moses, and there's one that's outside the law of Moses. And again, this is how we fit Matthew 17:18 into place again, right? Because it says, "Do not presume that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets." The law and the prophets is connected to Ezekiel. All the prophecy will be fulfilled, and Ezekiel's law that he was commanded to by God will be accomplished until heaven and earth pass away. So that is the clauses being connected. The second part of this, not a smallest letter or the stroke of a letter shall pass from the law until all is accomplished. This is talking about the Mosaic law, the 12 laws that are inside the Mosaic law that Jesus fulfilled. So Jesus fulfilled what needed to be accomplished, and the law and the prophets will be accomplished by Jesus on his second coming. Again, if you want to order my book, that would be great. You have to pre-order it right now because it's not published quite yet. It's in the editing phase, but it goes into great detail, and it's an exegetical book, and it's an apologetic book for modern day Christianity. So if you like this type of video, just go ahead and share and like and subscribe and share it with other people. And I do appreciate all your support.